Yes, I'm Batman.
I'm Batman. I'm Batman, Alfred.
I'm Batman.
I am Batman!
I'm Batman. I'm Batman. I'm vengeance.
Greetings, Bat Family, and welcome back to Holy BatCast, brought to you, as always, by real fans for real movies. Make sure you visit our website, holybatcast.com. It's your one-stop shop for all things Holy BatCast. But you can also find us all over the internet on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Just search for Holy BatCast. You will find us. We are also on Patreon, so if you love the show, you want to help support us, you can do that through Patreon. You can go to patreon.com/holybatcast. As always, big thank you to everybody who has done that. You guys are amazing, and you keep the show alive, truly. Makes the thing just so much easier to do, so we couldn't do it without you. For those of you who haven't done it, it's okay, we still love you, but it is an option if you'd like. As always, I am Andy. You can follow me on Twitter or on Instagram. It's just my name, Andy DiGenova. And we are part of the Real Fans Podcast Network, so if you're looking for other shows to enjoy, you can check those out at rf4rm.com. Now, this episode, we are going to talk about the ever-changing DC Films release slate, and, as I promised last time, we are going to catch up on a bunch of your emails in the Wayne Manor mailbox. It's busting at the seams, and the last two episodes have just been so chock full, we didn't get to it. Joining me for all that, you know him, you love him, he took the last 2 weeks off, and so now he's back and he's going to pay. It's Brendan Lowe. Hey, Brendan.
How you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you?
I am okay. I'm having a very, very, very busy time in my life at the moment, so that's why I've been away the last couple of weeks, which is, you know, I've been listening to the episodes. I have to admit that the Flash episode, I wish I had have been on just to sort of simply meet and chat with Spencer, because he sounded really awesome.
Yeah,
really
he's a good dude.
Episode.
Yeah. We've had some really good patrons over the last couple episodes.
Yeah, and then the last episode, I have to admit, I haven't listened to yet because I have not yet read Detective Issue 1027, due to me being so damn busy at the moment. But yeah, it's good to sort of unwind. Well, Thursday evening for us. I don't know when they'll probably hear this in, 5 days or so?
Yeah, probably a few more days.
Yeah, no, it's just sort of nice to unwind before the next 4 or 5 days for me get even busier again. So
yeah, well, I mean, it's out there. You purchased a new Lowe Manor, and that's exciting.
I did, yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So yeah, it's been a long journey to try and we really, really, really long story short is the seller and the real estate agent were both kind of useless and dicked us around for 3 months, much to the advice of our solicitor, who thought we should have moved on, but we'd fallen in love with the place and we fought for it and we got it, and finally it's looking like in the next 48 hours we'll actually be moving in properly. We've been taking stuff over the last the last 2 weeks since we got the keys, but this weekend's going to be the big move, and yeah, hopefully the next time you hear my voice I'll be in my brand new house, which is really, really cool.
In the brand new podcast studio?
Well, I'll have an office because from what it's looking like, I'll be working from home till at least sometime next year.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'll be setting up an office which will have collectibles and stuff in it. But I was thinking, I haven't even told you this privately. You know how in your old places you had themed bathrooms?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not having a themed bathroom.
Oh.
However, this place has 3 toilets. So there's one in the ensuite, obviously in the master bedroom. Then there's just like a bathroom that's got, your shower or everything, toilet in there. And then there is just a downstairs toilet. And funnily enough, it wasn't my idea, but Jess was like, it would be kind of cool if you decked out one of the toilets with a heap of Batman stuff.
Yeah.
So the downstairs toilet at the moment's got 2 really nice framed Batman pieces in there, and yeah, I'll probably add to it in the next couple of weeks. But if you ever come to visit and you use my downstairs shitter, which will, be, I think it will be dubbed the Bat Cave.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's going to be a bat-themed toilet.
Well, I'm coming only to do that. Like, I'm gonna fly to Australia, show up at your house,
hold it the whole way.
Hold it, walk right in the door. I'm not even gonna say hi. Just gonna walk in right into the shitter and just do my business, then get up and leave. Head back. That's it.
Worth it. Totally worth it.
Worth it. Leave y'all a nice deposit as a housewarming gift.
Yeah. No, that's the plan.
Well, that's great. I like that you've got a Batman themed shitter. That's terrific. And yeah. Take what you can get. But no, yeah, congrats on the house. That is very exciting. And yeah, your hands are going to be full as you move in and all that good stuff, but it's going to be good. It's going to be worth it.
It will, yeah. And I said to Jess the other day, actually, something you'll love, which is by the time we actually, have got it, I would hope, all unpacked and we've settled in and it feels like home, it'll be time to put the Christmas tree up.
Heck yeah.
Like, it's getting to that time. Like, it's really sneaking up on us quickly. Like, it's, almost mid-October, in another few days. Like, yeah.
I know.
Before you know it.
It's crazy, but we just keep on moving forward. But yeah, it'll almost be time for Christmas, but one thing at a time. We still have Halloween to enjoy. I still have a few more weeks of Halloweeniness to enjoy, and I'm excited. I was looking forward because we were less than a year away from seeing the Batman. We were
less than a year away.
We were
being the operative word.
It was going to be Halloween next year, but not anymore. Yeah, and Michael Lyons sent a photo the other day because it was the 1 year anniversary when he and I and Jamie went and saw Joker in Orlando. It's been 1 year since we did that. Yeah. So I was like, oh man, what a different time, simpler time. And it was the picture of us like hanging out in the theater lobby talking after the movie. Along with that really nice listener whose name escapes me right now. I'm so sorry if you're listening. But yeah, who came and met us and watched us with us. So yeah, happy 1 year to that. And then another year, we were going to be able to do the same with the Batman. But you know what? Best laid plans. Just ain't going to happen. So I did think this was worth talking about because it's just an ongoing thing. And at this point, it doesn't even faze me anymore. I'm just like, it's gonna happen. It keeps happening, and we'll just see where we land. So, the Batman was supposed to come out on October 1st next year, and now Warner Brothers, they've relooked at their schedule, they've shuffled it around, and they have made the decision to delay it to March 4th of 2022. So that delays it by October, November, 6 months. Yeah, thereabouts. October, 5 months. Yep. 5 months because it's the first week of March, right? Yeah. First thing I have to say is this is all Tim Rooney's fault.
I thought that.
So anybody who's mad about this, please find Tim Rooney on Twitter and let him know because he did this. But there are some other changes too. They are leaving the October 1st date. They're moving Dune to the October 1st date. And then
that's a big push because that was meant to be out this year.
That was supposed to be Christmas, I think.
That's what I thought. Like that's almost a year for that one.
Yeah. So that is going to take Batman's new or old date on October 1st, and then the Flash can't catch a break. The Flash moves from June 3rd of 2022 to November 4th of 2022. So that's another delay of 5 months from summer to fall, which, okay. Shazam! Fury of the Gods was on the November 4th date, and then that shifts to the next year, to June 2nd of 2023. And then Black Adam, which was Christmas of 2021, is now without a date for the time being.
Which isn't surprising because would you say it's sort of the least as far as progress goes? Like It's not as far along as the others, I guess.
I think so. It's hard. I mean, it's hard to tell, like, if that or Shazam will shoot first, or if they will shoot kind of at the same time. But yeah, so interesting. It's funny because David Sandberg takes everything in stride, and yeah, he tweeted something about like, well, this way we don't have to CG facial hair on the kids; they'll just grow it themselves.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, it was something. It was something like that.
The one thing that I took away from it, which, I mean, the Batman being moved was the second one in a week for me, because earlier in the week or late last week, the Bond got pushed again to April, which is bizarre in itself because they'd spent the whole week ramping up promotion for it to then go, yeah, it's pushed, which was really weird. But the thing that really surprised me with all this news is they're like, and Wonder Woman's still staying put at Christmas this year, and I'm just like, yeah, is it? Is it really? Because somehow I don't think it will.
Yeah. It's interesting that with all this shuffling and all these updates, they did not say anything about Wonder Woman 1984.
Yep.
So,
it's only a matter of time.
Oh, I mean, of course. It's just a matter of what that means. So, again, like, I'm not bothered by this because, again, it's just to be expected right now. Like, everything's just going to keep getting kicked down the road until the world, you know, settles down. And that hasn't happened yet, or especially in the United States. Like, that's just going to take time. And until they're in a much more stable place in the States, this stuff is just going to keep happening. And so, yeah, I'm just sort of waiting and seeing. It's fine, you know. It's going to be what it's going to be. No need to get upset or excited about it. So, but still worth seeing. Like, okay, you know, I was excited about Batman at Halloween. That seemed like fun, but I'll take March. So be it. It was
something different because we've never had that before.
Right.
Like, Batman has literally always been June, except for BVS, which obviously isn't a solo Batman movie, which was also a March release, and then Justice League, which was November. But there's never been a solo Batman movie that wasn't in June, July.
Yeah, right. No, I know. So, March is weird, but it's Batman, so people will still go, and it's also like, it might not be the last release date, so we'll see what happens.
March is odd. Like, my feeling is that will probably get bumped to the June, July. Like, what if you're going to push it that long, like to March? Why just not go, you know what, F it and make it a summer tentpole?
Yeah,
it's weird. I mean, Batman obviously will make money any time of the year, but it just would make more sense, I guess. But who knows anymore? I don't.
I know. So, I mean, and it's the same time of year as BVS came out. So I guess it's not totally unprecedented, even though it's pretty early in March to do it on, was it March 4th we said?
Because BVS was towards the end. It was it the 23rd?
It was the 25th. March 25th.
25th. Oh, it was the 23rd here, that's right, because we got it like 2 days early. But yeah, like more towards the back end of the month. So yeah, odd. Very odd.
Yeah. But they're going to keep doing this. It's going to keep getting shuffled. Honestly, my bigger concern is just what will the state of movie theaters be if things keep going the way they're going? Because you're hearing more and more about them shutting down and maybe not reopening, and that scares me more than having to wait. Yeah, like, because
definitely.
I love going to the movies, as you all know. You know, this is not a surprise. I love going to the movies. It's one of my favorite things, and if that is going to become an endangered experience, that breaks my heart. I love it. I know some people, I think Jamie's like, nope, happy to watch it at home. Don't need to go out. And that's fine. That's, you know, that's his prerogative. But I love going to the movie theater. It's like my favorite thing. And so I really do hope that's an industry that doesn't go away based on all of this. But we'll just have to wait and see. That scares me more than anything. I think these movies will get made. We will get to see them eventually, as long as I don't die. And I just hope there are theaters to go see them in.
Because that's the thing, again, it kind of all comes down to America in that, I mean, they're open here and they're operating. I've been once to see Tenet, which I saw about a month or so ago, and it was quiet, but you know, they're open. And they're playing a lot of classic movies, and I think there's a lot of particularly kids movies that would ordinarily be straight to DVD that they are putting in theaters here. So it's not dying here, but again, it's like, you know, the reason these movies are being pushed is because movies aren't open, like theaters aren't open in America. If cinema chains die in America, what does that mean for the rest of the world?
Yeah.
Because it will change releases forever.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it is very scary. I was thinking the same thing, seeing some of those headlines this week popping up that, you know, my American pals in the Real Fans group were sharing in Real Fans and on their private pages and stuff. But it's just like, man, it's for people like us, it's pretty shit.
Yeah. I mean, obviously there are more important things in the world, but that's just a favorite recreational activity. And I don't want there to be a day where I go, oh yeah, we used to go to movie theaters. You know, like,
yeah.
That's an experience I don't want to lose. And so here's hoping, you know, we'll see what happens. But I mean, we're going to get these movies one way or the other. I just hope I can see it in a theater. But because they did not acknowledge Wonder Woman or give it a new date, it'll be interesting to see what they choose to do. If they just kick it down the road another 6 months and go, well, but now it's going to be spring or summer and just keep hoping, or if they're finally going to bite the bullet and release it in some sort of premium VOD format. I did see that, you know, a certain site that shall remain nameless is like, oh, it's going direct to VOD, and I think they're just doing that because in case that's what happens, then they can claim that they were right about it. Because no one else had that info or was saying that was a thing.
No. Like, they released the tie-in comic last week.
I know, I bought it. I've not read it, but I bought it.
Happening.
Yeah.
It was good. Like, it was nothing groundbreaking, but it was fun.
Was it, like, in continuity? Was it spoilery?
No. But, like, it's an adventure in the museum that Diana works in.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I bought it, just haven't gotten around to reading it.
To say that, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I read it. I think the day I got it. It's just the one issue. It was a quick read, but it was fun. I liked it for what it was. I mean, the tie-in comics are never anything spectacular.
Sure.
But no, it's just, you know, a little tool to get you hyped for the movie, and I enjoyed it. The cover art's amazing.
Yeah, cover is awesome.
Nicholas Scott, the Aussie artist.
Yeah, it's really cool. Anyway, there you have it. That's the latest on the release dates for these DC films. It's just a wait and see thing, folks. But I still thought it was worth mentioning because, yeah, it means we do have to wait 5 more months for the Batman and then other various periods of time for the rest of these. But
we just have to keep coming up with filler episodes.
Yeah, in the meantime, we're going to have to keep reading comics. Oh my God, talk about those or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll see how it ends up, but in the meantime, enjoy your media where you can. Read your comics, you know, watch old movies or old TV shows, stuff you've always meant to get to. There's stuff out there, but we'll see how it goes, and, you know, we will get that new Batman movie when the time is right. So, we'll see. Anyway, really what we wanted to do was to check in with you guys as we crack open the Wayne Manor mailbox, because like I said, it's been piling up and we just haven't had a chance to clean it out. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to hear what's on the mind of you fine feathered finks and crack open the Wayne Manor mailbox. It's time again for the Wayne Manor mailbox.
You've got mail.
What is a letter for me?
Maybe temporary.
She wrote a letter.
You're one hell of a messenger. This is all, Master Wayne.
All right, first email here is from Mike G. It says, "Hey guys, I'm rewatching Batman Begins, and something occurred to me. It's often assumed that Ken Watanabe's character is Ra's al Ghul's decoy and that Liam Neeson was Ra's for the entirety of the film. But what if Neeson's character was, in fact, not lying to Bruce when he introduced himself as Ducard? What if Henry Ducard was just a disciple of Ra's, as portrayed by Watanabe, and upon his death during Bruce's insurrection, Ducard assumed the mantle of the Demon's Head and the leader of the League of Shadows? Did I miss it? Or is there anything in Batman Begins that would refute this? This actually makes more sense to me than the whole decoy thing. It's more logical and elegant, in my opinion. Mike, thank you for the message. Very interesting. Brendan, what do you think?
Yeah, it's an interesting theory. I don't see it though. Like, I think it's pretty clear that Jacquard was Ra's the whole time. That was the point.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I think in your headcanon, I think you can believe this. I don't think there's anything that contradicts this in the film. I don't think this is the intent, because it's pretty explicit in the dialogue of, or just a parlor trick to conceal your true identity, Roz, something like that. It's something.
And then, you got to take into account what happens in Rises as well. Like,
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I do think that I think what everyone assumes was the intent, but if this works better for you, I think it's a perfectly good and reasonable fan theory and works within the context of the film. So sure. All right, next email is from Willis Orr. It says, "Hey, Holy BatCast family, was Rupert Thorne supposed to be the Carl Grissom role in Batman 89 and also be responsible for the murder of the Waynes?" Thanks, Willis. I want to say, I don't know about him being responsible for the murder of the Waynes. That is new. Like, that doesn't sound familiar, but I do feel like Carl Grissom was originally supposed to be someone directly from the comics like Thorne. So I think that is probably true, but the responsible for the murder of the Waynes, I am not sure. Brendan, do you remember this?
I don't know. So I don't know if this is going to mean I have to hand my Batman card in or not, but was Rupert Thorne from the comics before Batman the Animated Series?
I think so.
Okay, because I cannot ever recall, like, reading a comic that had Rupert Thorne in it. Like, I thought he was sort of like the Falcone of the animated series world.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, that is true.
Interesting.
Yeah. That would require me to do some research because I don't know off the top of my head is the answer. One of these days, though, I do want to review the original draft of Batman 89 on the show. I think that would be a lot of fun, like we did for the Batman 2 script. It's not that different, but there are a few elements that are different enough that it's worth doing. But I think by that point, it's still Grissom in the script, so I don't think that's very helpful. But I do remember...
Just had a quick look.
Yeah?
Yeah, first appearance was May 1977.
Okay.
Created by Walt Simonson and Steve Englehart.
Okay.
There you go. I had no idea.
I know that originally in the film, it was going to be Silver St. Cloud instead of Vicky Vale.
I do remember hearing that, yes.
Yes. But if they used Silver St. Cloud, they had to pay the creator. And if they used Vicky Vale, they didn't have to pay extra. So that's why they switched it to Vicky Vale. Which is kind of shitty.
Interesting. I mean, obviously...
But I think
it wasn't originally meant to be Kim Basinger, but Kim Basinger could have been Silver St. Cloud, like, just looking at her back then.
Right. And so I think that might also be why they changed Rupert Thorne into Carl Grissom. Is like, if you use something for the comics, you have to pay the creator. But if they create someone new, Carl Grissom, you don't have to pay anybody. But I don't know why it was cheaper to use Vicky Vale than Silver St. Cloud. I don't know the details, but I remember hearing that conversation, is that they swapped some of those characters out so they didn't have to pay off certain people.
It's like if they still, even today, if they have a version of the Joker that they refer to as Jack Napier, Jack Nicholson gets some money.
Nice. It's good to be Jack.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. All right, next message is from Naomi. It says, "Hey, Holy BatCast, hope you're doing well. I've got 2 questions. But on a recent episode, you answered a question about casting Disney characters as the Justice League. And you were stumped as to who should be Batman. I was surprised that no one said the Beast. He's rich and intimidating. He had a terrible childhood. He can be aggressive, and he lives in an isolated Gothic home with loyal, witty servants. Anyway, I've got 2 questions. Number 1, I've noticed in many Batman films we've never had a primary villain who was a woman. At best, they've been allied with the main antagonist, like Poison Ivy and Batman and Robin, or they've been anti-heroes, like Anne Hathaway, or, we assume, Zoe Kravitz's Catwoman. Are there any female rogues you think could work as the main villain in a Batman film? 2, what are the top 5 cameos you'd like to see in the Flash movie, excluding Michael Keaton, Grant Gustin, and the Justice League, who I would say are all but confirmed. Thanks, guys. Naomi. Naomi, thank you. So the Beast, well said.
When you put it like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Great choice. Yeah, maybe we were just too close to the problem and we couldn't come up with it. But I think the Beast is a great answer. Yeah. And I think someone... It might have been Julian Chan said, hello, Chernobog, Wilfred Jackson. And I'm like, oh, yeah. Duh.
You see you can get a Wilfred Jackson pop now?
I did.
Like this Chernobog, pop that's been released. I had a bit of a chuckle when I saw it. I was like, hey, it's a Wilfred pop.
That's right. Okay, so do you think that there is a female rogue who could be the main villain in a Batman film and then cameos in The Flash? What do you think, Brendan?
Technically, is Talia? She's the main villain. She's the main bad in Dark Knight Rises.
But only for 5 minutes at the end.
Yeah,
I wouldn't.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
It's looking back on it, you realize she's there the whole time. But Bane is the villain of that movie. But it's really Talia. But I'd love to see Poison Ivy be a lead villain in a Batman movie. Like, I think I'd love to see Harley and Ivy be lead villains in a Batman movie. It's crazy. Batman doesn't have that many female rogues, really. I guess like Catwoman, Poison Ivy, Harley Quinn, and you sort of start dipping a bit. Magpie. It's slim pickings. So, but I totally think it could work. I think it should happen. So, but make it Poison Ivy. I still can't believe with Suicide Squads and Birds of Preys and the like getting big screen adaptations that we have not seen a live action Poison Ivy since Uma Thurman. It's great. Well, not counting Gotham, but. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I think Poison Ivy could absolutely be a great main villain in a Batman film. Honestly, I think a Batman versus Catwoman movie could work. I know that, nowadays Catwoman is more of an anti-hero, but you don't even have to change that. But like if there's a movie that's just them at odds, but also still attracted to each other, I think that would still be strong enough to build a movie around.
You really go the strong eco-terrorist with Poison Ivy, like really do that angle, and she can be a diabolical villain. Like even if you take away some of the more fantastical plant controlling stuff, like just eco-terrorist, like it's fantastic. It's there.
But really, I think that the right answer is Baby Doll.
You're right.
Yep.
You're right. When you're right, you're right. And I've just watched Orphan, so look, it can work.
It can work. Anyway, and then cameos in the Flash movie.
It was 5, wasn't it?
She says 5. If you can't come up with 5, just throw out a few. It's okay.
Not including Michael Keaton and
Grant Gustin or the Justice League. Yeah.
Christian Bale.
Okay, good.
Val Kilmer. George Clooney.
Oh?
I'm going to say Kevin Conroy. And Burt Ward.
All right, so we're just doing all Batman.
Why not?
Yeah,
no, Holy BatCast.
You're right. I was thinking more villains, like DeVito as the Penguin or Nicholson as the Joker somehow. You'd have to do some CG de-aging, at least for Nicholson. Like DeVito, you could probably put him in the suit and he would look essentially the same. I would go that route. The problem is we got so many of these with Crisis that I'm trying to not just say stuff that happened there.
Yeah.
Because that covered a lot of it. But I feel like the previous...
It would be a cool way to get Hamill in as a Joker.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill would be cool. I'd be into that. Michelle Pfeiffer. So...
I'm surprised you didn't lead with Pfeiffer, to be honest.
Well, all of those would be cool. We'll have to see. I wouldn't hate the idea of Nicolas Cage. I don't, I'm not like begging for it, but I also would be down for it.
Yeah.
All right. Next message is from Gaurav Venkateswar. He says, "Hey guys, I heard the fun question on the episode about Disney characters as the Justice League." See, everybody wanted to play this game. This could be its own episode. Disney Justice League. He says, "I had a few thoughts. Batman, the Beast. He's dark, brooding, lives in a big manor, wears a cape, has horns that could work like bat ears." Okay, all right. So the 2 votes for the Beast. He goes, but here's some other alternatives. Lilo, she lost her parents. Her sister Nani could be Alfred. This might have to be a darker Lilo and Stitch alternative timeline. Simba, he lost his dad, was broody for a while. This might have to be an alternative timeline where Simba never meets Timon and Pumbaa. Let me know what you think. Anyway, wanted to chime in because the question was tons of fun. Gaurav. Thank you, Gaurav. And fun ideas. I think that, the Beast really does make sense. I'm into that. Lilo, I'm having a harder time picturing, but maybe that's because she's like an 8-year-old girl. It would have to like be aged up Lilo. But yeah, Brendan, thoughts on those?
Yeah, it all makes sense to me. Like, obviously, and we missed a big one with the Beast. Like, clearly that's what people were screaming into their earbuds.
Yeah.
But I just did not even think of it at the time. So
I know.
Yeah, no, the Lilo one's interesting, but yeah, I'd watch it.
All right. Next message. Oh, this is kind of what we were just talking about. It says, "Hey," it's from Carl. It says, "Hey guys, there are rumors that Chris O'Donnell could return as Robin in The Flash, as well as a cameo appearance by Nicolas Cage as Superman. What are your thoughts on these?" Thank you, Carl. Well, like I just said about Nicolas Cage, that's fine. Again, I'm not dying for it, but if they wanted to do it, I'd be like, yeah, cool, fun, sure. Chris O'Donnell as Robin, I don't know. Maybe if they made him like an older grizzled Nightwing or something. I just don't know how he would look as Robin these days. What do you think, Brendan?
Yeah, you'd have to go the older Nightwing angle for that to happen. Like, it could work. I don't know, man. The Nick Cage thing, I said it on Twitter like a week or so ago. It's just like, I've never been able to picture it. Like, I've watched the documentary and everything, but that's one movie that I'm not sad we didn't get. Like, I don't see Superman when I look at Nicolas Cage back then or now. Like, I don't see it. It's never worked for me aesthetically. So I'm not begging for that at all, ever.
Okay. All right. Next message is from our pal Tanishk. It says, "Hey, hope all is well. I know you've said..." It says, "I know you're sick and tired of the topic, so I'll apologize for bringing it up." Matt Reeves said that one of his inspirations for the Batman was Batman Ego by Darwin Cook. I'd never heard of it before, and I just finished reading it, and my reaction was, holy crap, that was effing awesome. How is this not a classic? The story ends with Batman taking a pledge that he will never kill. There's a wonderful quote: "As much as Batman is a terrifying symbol to the underworld, he's also a symbol to the good people of this city, a symbol of hope." Matt Reeves has also said that his Batman will be a humanist. So do you think we'll finally get a Batman after George Clooney who doesn't commit murder? I get people being fined by Batman killing, but nothing's more embarrassing than when I see Batman fans defending Batman committing manslaughter, no matter which version it is. I hope Andy Muschietti also has a humanist Batman in the Flash. Apologies for bringing it up again. Thanks for all the hard work. Keep up the good work. Tanishk. Thanks, Tanishk. What do you think, Brendan?
Look, I haven't read Ego in probably close to 15 years. I do own it. I think we even talked about it when it came up on the week of Fandom. Like, if my comics weren't already all packed up, I would have been reading it that weekend. It's been that long, I can't remember anything about it. I literally bought it based on the cover because I was like, that looks awesome. So yeah, I really do want to read it again though when I get things settled down and unpacked and everything. So looking forward to that. But the killing thing, like, I mean, Batman is a malleable character. We know this. So if someone wants to do a version of Batman, like, flat out murdering is one thing, but then also if people are getting strung up essentially by their own petard, like if they get critically injured or die through a result of their own actions, I don't have a problem with that. Like, like say the warehouse scene, for example, with how old mate, pulls the pin on the grenade and everything, and then Batman throws the other guy into him to stop the guy, essentially blowing up the entire room. Like, I don't feel sorry for that guy. I don't feel sorry for the guy who got thrown into him. Like, I also don't see that as, Batman killing those two guys. I see that as Batman saving a room full of people, and that, do you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't bother me as much as it seems to other people. Like, if someone wants to have a really, really drum home the Batman doesn't kill angle of things, and that's the story they want to tell, cool. I'm down for that. If another creator wants to tell a story where things are a little bit looser, like a Zack Snyder or something like that, or a Frank Miller, I'm down for that as well. So it just depends on the story the creator wants to tell, I guess.
Yeah. I need to read Batman Ego. I've never read it, but I've heard nothing but great things, so I do need to check it out. That's cool. But yeah, I feel like there's enough evidence and supporting stories to both sides of the argument that we have to stop pretending that one side is right and one side is wrong. There's stories that do both, and that's fine. You could certainly have a preference of going, well, I like the stories where, nobody dies no matter what, and then some people are like, no, I like the stories where, unfortunately sometimes there are casualties in the battle, whatever, but they both happen. So yeah, that's my thing. Like, I certainly have my preference. Yeah, my preference is that, Batman doesn't kill. But again, there's difference between the Batman becoming the Punisher and just like blowing people away, and then, Batman in the middle of a fight or a battle where, one of the bad guys doesn't get up because of, whatever the circumstances might be. So I think there's a line. And again, I'm tired of the debate because, again, there is supporting on both, so it just comes down to what you prefer, which types of Batman stories you prefer, and that's cool. All right, next message is from Imad Alaguz. Oh, well, we already kind of covered this. It says, hey guys, lots of rumors going around about DC character cameos in The Flash. Which ones would you love to see go nuts? I think we handled that, Imad. Thank you for the message. Unless, Brennan, something else sprung to mind in the last 5 seconds.
I mean, look, talking about the Nick Cage thing, I am not really that interested in seeing versions of characters where their movies weren't made. But I mean, I'd love to see. I know we saw him suit up in Crisis, but I'd love to see Brennan Routh, who is essentially Christopher Reeve in terms of, continuity. I'd love to see him and Henry Cavill together in costume. I think that would be pretty awesome. So
Yeah. Yeah, for real. I mean, since we brought it up, I kind of like the idea of revisiting the Schumacher era in a different way, Most of them are still around. Yeah. Honestly, I feel like Val's the toughest one just because he the sickness and the age have really taken their toll. I think it would be hard to do it with him.
Yeah.
Everyone else, I think you could get away with.
I don't think you'd get Clooney, but
I don't know. He seems to have a good sense of humor about the whole thing. So I wouldn't put it past him, especially if it's something quick. So we'll see.
Yeah.
I don't expect him. Honestly, I don't expect it to be a cameo parade. I could be wrong, but I feel like we should count our blessings and also understand that, it's a Flash movie.
Yeah.
All right, next message is from Reverend Fraser. It says, hey, is there a chance you'd be able to review episodes of Superman the Animated Series? And also, is Superman the Animated Series underrated? Well, as far as will we be able to review them at some point? Yeah, I'm totally open to it. Just a matter of when and making sure the time is right. But yeah, I feel like the whole DC animated universe is fair game as far as this show goes. And then what do you think, Brendan? Do you think that show is underrated?
Yeah. It's funny. I don't know if it's I guess it kind of is. I mean, it was Superman's version of Batman the Animated Series. I really like it. I think it's fantastic. It just doesn't seem to have the what's the word I'm looking for? Like the longevity, the massive fandom like Batman the Animated Series does. But it's a fantastic series. I've watched it through twice, I think. Once not technically legit, and then the other second time when it did finally get released on DVD over here only 4 years ago. And it's a great show. I really like it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I do think it's underrated because it's a great show. I would say it is arguably as good as Batman the Animated Series in its own way. And so it's crazy that, Batman the Animated Series is always part of the conversation. It is beloved. It's held up as this classic. People still talk about it. People still call it the ultimate version of Batman. You don't hear that about Superman the Animated Series, and I think you should. I do think it's that good. I think it is a iconic and incredibly faithful version of Superman in his world. And yeah, I do think we should talk about it more because it's a great show. So yeah, good point. All right, next message is from Tom Fallows. It says, hey guys, I loved your interview with Kevin Altieri for Batman Day. Also, I'm sorry I gave Robert Pattinson COVID in Liverpool. But you know what it's like. You're out looking for some kicks and someone's passing around a contagious virus. My question is, with Tim Burton directing Batman 89 and Batman Returns, as well as being involved with Superman Lives, if Burton were to have created a DC multiverse, what do you think would have been his next DC film, and what villain would he choose for Justice League? Thanks, guys. Stay safe, Tom. Thanks, Tom. We'll forgive you because it seems like Robert Pattinson is okay. But if Tim Burton were to create his DC universe on film, what other movie do you think he would make, and who would he make his villain for Justice League, Brendan?
Well, his villain for Justice League, Darkseid, would be in the movie, but then he'd create his own character that's like a businessman that sort of the whole movie focuses around as instead of the actual DC characters that people are there to see.
Somebody thinks he's funny, huh?
Hey, am I wrong? No, I don't know. It's hard to say because he'd kind of probably go left of center. It's hard to say. Maybe like a Lobo or something. He's kind of an anti-hero as well. That's a tricky one.
Yeah, it is.
It'd be interesting to see what his dark side would look like.
Yeah. It is tough. Like so if he did the Batman movies, he did a Superman movie, what would the next one be? I'm trying to think of like who do I think he would feel the most kinship with? I feel like it would be like someone like Martian Manhunter, like this outsider looking in, trying to belong. That feels very Tim Burton to me. So I could see him wanting to do that.
Trying to think of sort of the Big Seven type Aquaman maybe as well, so kind of for the same reason.
Yeah, I mean,
Like
I feel like Wonder
Justice
Woman is who it should have been, but I just don't know if Tim Burton would have had any interest in that. But
yeah, no, I genuinely can't think of a villain because I mean because Brainiac was going to be the villain in Superman. Was Superman Lives? Yeah. No.
Brainiac and Doomsday.
That's right. So, I mean, that kind of rules... Because Brainiac would be my first choice, but he's kind of ruled out, given the rules of this game. I genuinely don't know the villain.
Yeah. I mean, I want to say, like, Darkseid, just because... I mean, yes, it's, like, where our brains go naturally, but at the same time, I feel like... Darkseid and Desaad and like that whole apocalyptic world could be just very dark and gnarly. And I could see Tim Burton having a lot of fun with creating Apocalypse in that world.
I joked about the businessman thing, but he could have introduced his version of Lex.
Yeah, that's true. So yeah, it's interesting to think of like who else would he be interested in exploring, because I wouldn't have thought Superman, but he was going to. So all right, moving forward, next message is from Andrew Keese. It says, hey there, a few questions about adapting there have been a few questions about adapting Arkham Asylum, A Serious House on Serious Earth, into animation. With the success of Sandman on Audible, would you think a similar approach would work for Arkham? I think it'd be a great throwback to the old school horror radio plays, as well as bringing Batman back to his roots of being a pulp figure based on the Shadow radio play and comic strip. What do you think? And are there any other Batman stories that you'd like to see to get an Audible adaptation like Sandman? Andrew. Thanks, Andrew. Well, the first thing is I haven't really listened to the Sandman Audible thing, so I don't have a great frame of reference for that. Because Sandman's just not my thing. But I assume it's like a radio play. I don't know. What do you think, Brendan?
Give me 2 seconds. I'm just quickly checking something.
Okay, well...
Did you guys talk about the... because I haven't listened to the last episode yet, but how David Goyer is writing the dramatized Batman podcast?
Oh, no, we haven't talked about that.
Yes. It was a Batman Unburied or something. It was a kind of a weird name.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, Batman Unburied. So, I mean, we're kind of getting it with an original story through Spotify.
Right.
But again, Sandman's not my thing either, so I haven't listened to it, but I've only heard good things. Like, it's meant to be really, really good, and the cast was amazing. So yeah, if they can do that sort of thing with the world of Batman, I'd definitely be down for it. But I'm not sure, like, as far as what I'd want to hear done in that. Part of me is actually just really keen to hear original stories done that way. Like, that'd be really cool. The Arkham Asylum thing, I think I've said before on the show, like, I can't comment because I've never read it. Like, it doesn't appeal to me. But as an audio thing, like, I'd be down to listen to it. Like, I listen to podcasts and stuff all day while I'm working from home. So it's definitely something I would listen to. Whether or not it's for me, yet to be seen, but I'd certainly give it a shot. But yeah, I don't know. I think I'd really keen to just hear original stories. Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think that Arkham Asylum, A Serious House on Serious Earth, yes, I think that could be really cool. It could be really neat and creepy, and I'd be into that.
And I mean, you could really do it with any story. I don't think that, like, for me, there aren't any that go, oh, this would be better in this format, because I think a good story is a good story. It could work no matter which one you want to do. So, yeah, whether they adapt existing stories or if they do original ones like the David Goyer thing. Great poll, Brendan. I honestly had forgotten about that until you mentioned it. Yeah, I think that all of that could work, and I'm certainly going to listen to the Goyer one. I think it could be a really fun new way to get Batman content. So I like the idea.
While you're talking there, I did just have a thought. Like, if you really want to go the old school radio play angle, I think the two would be Batman and the Monster Men and Batman and the Mad Monk.
Ah, yeah, that's true.
Like, that could work as an old school radio play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, and I even feel like The Long Halloween could, because of the noir detective tone of that. Like, I could just hear it, you know, with a lot of, like, voiceover and dialogue.
And as well.
Yeah.
Like, so, each holiday would be an episode.
Right. All right. Next message is from Jacob Klemoski. It says, hey, Holy BatCast. I hope you're doing well and staying safe, but still having fun. I've been listening to old episodes and some that I've missed, and I listened to the Batman villain playoffs, and I thought that was so great. I know it takes work and a lot of time, but another cool playoff you could do is of Batman comic art. I feel like it would be fun. For a question, I was curious, what's your favorite picture in comics or posters of Batman? I like the Batman number 700 cover with the silhouette of Batman with a moon in the background. So cool. Hope you're doing well. Take care, Jacob. Thanks, Jacob. So, oh man, going a long time ago, the Batman villain bracket. That was fun.
Yeah,
that was a good time. I feel like we had some ideas to do something similar with, I want to say, like, with maybe Bat Family or something, and like we've had ideas to do that again. It's just never materialized, but I'm open to it. Batman comic arcs could be tough, but I mean, I like a challenge.
Gee, I wonder what Jamie would pick.
Yeah. So a favorite picture or poster of Batman, Brendan? I mean, that's a wide net, but
does it need to be comic art, or is it just like poster?
I don't think so. It can be whatever.
I really liked the Batman Begins, because I mean, with Batman Begins, actually with all the Nolan movies, there was like 50 million posters for all of them.
Mm-hmm.
But I really liked the one that was the shot of Batman. Like coming down the stairs with his cape, like down the stairwell with his cape like spread wide open. I really liked that image. Look, don't hate me, but in terms of the individual character posters, I did like the Kilmer poster for Batman Forever, like just sort of him with the cape pulled across sort of the bottom half of his face. I always really, really liked that image as well. I mean, there's some, like, obviously, you know, Jim Lee's Hush poster art as well is pretty spectacular. That's hard to go by.
Mm-hmm.
I'll probably think of others, but you go. I'm all out at the moment.
No problem. Yeah. Jim Lee's Hush, Batman is right. And especially there's the cover that's Batman and Nightwing. That's Jim Lee. Oh, man, that one is awesome. I just randomly retweeted one. And this one was from, there's a Twitter account called Batman Creators, and they just share Batman art, which I love. And it was this image by Norm Brayfogle for Batman number, where are you, 465? Yes, Batman.
Are you asking me?
No, I was asking myself as I was trying to zoom in to see. So yes, it was the cover for Batman 465 by Norm Brayfogle, and it's Batman and Robin on a rooftop. Batman, it's the blue and the gray, and it's the Tim Drake Robin, and it's one of my favorite images of those two characters in history. It's fresh in my memory just because
I just found it.
Yeah, it's just so awesome. So yeah, I love that. I think that one is magical. I think the final shot.
Following that page too.
Yeah, I think the final shot of Batman '89 with Batman almost in silhouette but looking up at the bat signal is also magical. So there you go. There's 3, but I mean it's great images of Batman, and there's a million. So yeah. There's one thing about Batman is he always looks cool. All right, next message is from Mary Jo. It says, "Hey everyone, will all the DC shows like Superman the Animated Series and Justice League, Superboy, Lois and Clark, Wonder Woman be on HBO Max before the end of the year? And also, were the plans for Spider-Man 4 to have the Vulture, Black Cat, and the Lizard as villains?" Thanks, Mary Jo. My understanding is that, yes, any of the old DC series that are currently on DC Universe will all move to HBO Max by the end of the year. So I think that answer is yes. If not all, then most. So I think that seems like a pretty safe bet. News we forgot to mention, Brendan, is the Bat Vehicles show for HBO Max.
Oh God, yes.
How did we forget that? So it's called Bat Wheels. It's an animated series for HBO Max and Cartoon Network. Apparently it's for preschoolers, but essentially it's the Bat Vehicles as characters.
Look, I can't say that I'll watch it religiously, but I'll certainly check it out. Why wouldn't you?
I know, it's ridiculous and I'm here for it. Why the hell not? I'm down. Yeah. I can't wait to see the Batmobile romancing Catwoman's car.
I saw a little bit of hate for it, but at the same time, I can't remember who it was. Was it Steven, I think, maybe?
Yeah.
Was tweeting yesterday, and he's just every kid needs an in. Not every version of the character needs to be for, us middle-aged men.
Sure.
There needs to be an in for little kids, and Cars is a Cars is a shit Pixar movie, and I can't believe there's been 3 of them, and
two planes spin-offs.
Planes, yeah, and they have an entire world at Disneyland, a California Adventure, and look, the ride's amazing, but it's not a good franchise, but kids friggin' love it. And this is going to be that, but for DC. So if they, if it's going to start, 3, 4, 5, 6-year-old into this world, and good, there should be more of it. So, bring it on.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. Who cares? I guess, especially it's for little kids. Great. I mean, this is the first Cars project I'm interested in.
Yes.
So, yeah, why the hell not? I'm into it. It's ridiculous, and I like it. So I'm looking forward to it. Especially because, hey, I get to see the Batmobile racing around Gotham in animation. I'm good with that. So it's all good.
And there's that Super Pets movie or whatever it is.
Yeah, yeah.
That's coming out. Well, I won't say next year because God knows when it'll come out. But, they're diversifying, it's going to bring in different sort of audiences, but the thing is, it's going to bring them in. So
sure.
Who gives a shit? Let them bring them in. I
agree. Yeah, I have no problem with this. And then as for Spider-Man 4, my understanding, the last I remember, is that it was going to be the Vulture. And then there was going to be a female Vulture, the Vulturess, and it was supposed to be, I want to say, Ben Kingsley and Anne Hathaway. So I don't think the Lizard was part of it, and I remember when Anne Hathaway, when there were rumors around her, there was talk of her being Black Cat, and then it was no, she's actually going to be a female partner to the Vulture, or maybe the Vulture's daughter or something like that. I feel like that was the last it was before they shut it down and decided to do the reboot. Vulture would have been cool. Vulturess is weird.
It's funny because again, not that I was following it, but I can remember Lizard being mentioned. And that's why when The Amazing Spider-Man came out and Lizard was the villain, I'm like, oh, they kind of did Batman Begins, where Scarecrow was meant to be the villain for the next Batman movie, and they used Scarecrow for the reboot. Like, yeah, I was sure Lizard was meant to be part of it as well, but I could be wrong. But
well, Lizard was someone we kept waiting for because Dr. Connors was in the second movie. He was in Spider-Man 2, maybe even 3. I can't remember if he showed up in 3 or not. But it was Dylan. Oh God, what the hell's his name? Dylan. Anyway, the point is,
Dylan.
It was a good actor. It was a good actor. I wanted to say Dylan Walsh, but I feel like that's maybe someone else. But anyway, the point
you
is
say Dylan, and I instantly hear McDermott, and I know it wasn't.
It's
him.
not. It's definitely not him. So, but like. They cast a good actor as Dr. Connors, so that way when the time came for him to become Lizard, they already had a good actor to play that character. But then that never happened. Dylan Baker.
Okay. And wasn't Bruce Campbell meant to have a more substantial role instead of just a cameo? I could be way off here, but I remember he was like meant to be a name character in the fourth one.
There were rumors.
There
were rumors of him being Mysterio, but I don't know how true that ever was.
Okay.
But I remember that rumor too. There were a lot of rumors. I do wish Raimi would have been able to make his Spider-Man 4. Much like I wish Burton could have made Batman 3. Like, I feel like where Spider-Man 3 ends doesn't feel like the conclusion of a trilogy, but it's going to have to do because then they didn't move forward with part 4. I do wish they would have gotten one more crack at it, but that's just me.
Yeah. I haven't seen Spider-Man 3 since the theater.
I've revisited it once, maybe twice, and it has its moments, but it's a mess, you know?
It's just such a shame because Spider-Man 2 is such a good comic book movie.
Yeah.
It's arguably the best Spider-Man movie. Like, it's really good.
Yeah, I know most people pick 2. I still prefer the first one over 2, but most people pick 2.
They're both really good. Yeah.
All right. Next message. What do we got here? Come on. All right, there we go. This is from Franklin Gnosis. It says, "Hey guys, I listened to last week's episode and about DC Universe. It says, Andy, you're right. I love DC Universe because of the library of comics, and I'm going back to reading some comics that I missed. But there's one comic that I regretted. It was Frank Miller and Jim Lee's run of All-Star Batman and Robin, The Boy Wonder. I didn't know what Miller was trying to accomplish in writing this. Batman was weird, and every character in the comic seemed like a jerk. Anyway, I was curious to know if any of you guys have read it, and what are your thoughts?" From Franklin Gnosis. Franklin, I did read it, and this was one that was before DC Universe, and I think I actually bought the trade, like an actual print to read it.
I got the individual issues as they were coming out.
Oh, did you? Well, what do you think of this one?
It was right around the time I got back into Batman and comics hardcore, because it was when Batman Begins came out, and the guy at my local comic book shop was like, well, this series is just starting, so this would be a good jumping on point. The first issue is coming out in a couple of weeks. So I was still rediscovering the world of comics, so I was absorbing a lot at the time. But I do remember as it went on, it got weirder and weirder, and a couple of years ago I did read it as a trade. I borrowed the trade off a friend, and it's bonkers. Like, I still think though the best part of that run was what they did to screw over Green Lantern.
Yeah.
I thought that was genuinely, like, it was absurd, but it was also kind of clever and also at the same time really funny. Mm-hmm. Like, I genuinely liked that. And then how he offers him lemonade to drink, like, just to be a real prick. I thought that was good.
Yes. So I think the artwork in that run is amazing. I mean, it's Jim Lee, so of course it is, but it's so good. And the writing is terrible. I hated it because Batman was such an a-hole. And he was so mean to Robin in that. Like, he like smacks around Robin in one of the issues and he calls him like a whiny brat or something. And I'm like, what is this? This isn't Batman. Like,
He expects him to eat rats in the Batcave. Like,
it's ridiculous. Yeah, it's so weird. It did give us the goddamn Batman, so I'll give it credit for that. But yes, it's terrible. It's just, yeah, Frank Miller like trying to make Batman an even bigger a-hole than he already had in the past, and it was just too much. It was to the point where it became self-parody, but I don't think it meant to be. And it's really bad. But I agree with you about the Green Lantern thing. That was at least kind of clever, and the art is good, but man, yeah, I read it and I was like, this is embarrassingly bad. So I'm with you.
Black Canary looked good.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there was even something weird with Black Canary in it. I
can't remember what it was.
I don't remember all the details, but yes, like, I think it was one of those where I was like, I know comics are, the audience is young men, so of course, yes, they often objectify women, but I feel like when I read that, even I felt a little dirty. I was like, come on, like, is that really all this is, So, anyway, I don't like it, is the point. Next message is from Stuart Busire. It says, hey guys, it's Stuart from Guernsey. I have a real fan's request, or maybe even please rewind for Jamie. Do you think you could ever cover Masters of the Universe? I know He-Man wasn't really Jamie's thing, but I know you're a bit of a fan, Andy. The movie holds a special nostalgic feeling in my heart. This, along with Batman 89 and Back to the Future, are the movies I love most from my childhood. I'd love to hear you cover it. Anyway, I hope you're safe and enjoying pumpkin season. Stuart. Thank you, Stuart. The answer is 100%. And because of that, I hope they don't do it on Please Rewind so I can be a part of it. Because
Well, you could be a guest.
I guess I could. Because I'm with you, Stuart. I love that movie. I know it's not a great movie, but I love it because, yeah, I'm not a bit of a fan of He-Man. I'm a huge fan of He-Man. I mean, I know I don't have a podcast dedicated to it, but yes, He-Man is my jam. Masters of the Universe, I have been salivating for a new live-action Masters of the Universe movie forever now. Like, in this age, there is no reason this shouldn't have happened. I want He-Man on Battle Cat, riding into battle in Eternia with the Masters behind him, with Buzz Off and Fisto. I want the whole crew. I want Moss Man there. Hell, I want Snout Spout. Bring in Snout Spout. I'm down. I want it, but for years and years and years, all I had was the Dolph Lundgren one. And it's not without its charms, and I still love it, despite its flaws. I think that they did the best they could with what they had, and I like it. So, yes, I would love to cover that movie at some point soon. Is there an anniversary? It was 87, so, 2 more years? 97, 07, 17, 35 years in 2 years. So I'd love to do it when the time is right. So thank you, Stuart. I'll do it on here. I don't care. Try and stop me. It's my show. I'll do what I want.
I saw that movie once when I was like maybe 8 or 9. I can't remember anything about it.
Well, it's wonderful is the first thing.
Masters of the Universe, like, I remember it being quite big when I was very young, like 3-4 years old, and it sort of always being on, morning television and stuff, but I never got into it. I was just probably that little bit too young. I did have a He-Man action figure. It's the first ever action figure I remember owning. I don't know who gave it to me or why I had it, but I did. So...
Well, you're a couple years younger than me, and I think that makes just enough of a difference, Yeah. Where you were really young when it was in its heyday.
Because I remember Thundercats being quite big when I was very young as well, but again, like, by the time I got to the age where I could have really gotten into that sort of thing, that's when Ninja Turtles hit.
Yes.
And then that just grabbed me. So
Yeah, like the height of He-Man mania was like 1984, 85. So
Yeah.
I was 6 or 7, which was the perfect age, and you would have been what, 4? 3?
84 was the year I was born.
Oh, I didn't really. I guess you are that much younger than me. I guess I forgot. Well, there you go. So you would have been really young, and you would have probably only
very,
remembered
very young.
sort of the tail end of Masters of the Universe fever.
Pretty much, yeah.
But the very first Masters of the Universe action figure I owned was Manny Faces, and guess who bought me Manny Faces?
Grandma Ruth?
Grandma Ruth. Yep, Grandma Ruth. We went to the drugstore. She was probably buying grandma medicine. I don't know. And they had Masters of the Universe, and I was like, oh, this is cool. And I was so tiny, and she's just like, yeah, she bought it for me, and that was it. That was Manny Faces was my entry drug because it came with a little comic book. I read the comic book, and then I wanted the rest of the characters, and forget it. Then I was in.
Had you already seen the cartoon?
I don't think so. I was aware of it, but yes, I hadn't really watched it yet. I want to say Manny Faces was like Wave 2. So I was still pretty young, because I think that Wave 1 hit in 83, and I would have been 4 or 5, so I was still really young. So I probably got Manny Faces when I was 6, and that was when I really went nuts for it. All right, well, I'm so glad you joined us on Masters of the Universe cast. Now, we're going to count down our favorite Skeletor insults, starting with 10, moving all the way to 1.
Not wanting to linger on it or anything, but just literally just out of curiosity, are you looking forward to the new animated one that Kevin Smith is producing?
Yeah, I really am. Because I love Masters of the Universe, I'm excited for any new content that we get. Like, I bought all the DC books with Masters of the Universe. And so, yeah, a new animated series I'm really excited about. I hope it kind of retains the spirit of the original, but that was what Kevin Smith said he wanted to do. But kind of retaining that.
Apparently, it's a continuation.
Yeah, exactly. So I want to see the artwork. I want to see what the animation looks like, because the She-Ra series on Netflix, the animation is just a little too far off for me to love it. I get what it's doing. It's doing its own thing. It's not made for me. I appreciate it for what it is, but if the animation was just a little less cartoony and a little more comic booky, if you will, I think I'd be more into it.
Yeah.
So I hope that they don't go too far down that road for the new He-Man.
Cool. Yeah, I was just curious, because every time they mention it on any of the Kevin Smith podcasts I listen to, I'm always like, I wonder if Andy's looking forward to that. I always forget to ask.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. I'm into it. All right. Well, thanks, Stuart, for our little He-Man tangent. I love it. All right, next message is from Douglas June. It says, hey guys, do you know why Marlon Brando and Gene Hackman got top billing in Superman the movie? This also happened with Supergirl with Faye Dunaway, as well as in Santa Claus the movie with Dudley Moore and John Lithgow. Thanks, Douglas. Yes, I do know why, because they were bigger stars than the title characters.
They're Marlon Brando and Gene Hackman.
Yeah.
That's why.
It's crazy because it almost became a tradition that the villain got top billing over the hero. So as you said, yeah, Superman the movie, Marlon Brando and Gene Hackman got top billing over Christopher Reeve. Faye Dunaway was Supergirl. But in Batman 89, Jack Nicholson got top billing over Michael Keaton. But
Yep.
Michael Keaton then finally got top billing in Batman Returns. Wait long enough. And then same thing with Santa Claus the movie. Like Dudley Moore and John Lithgow were the big names. They got top billing. And there was also a weird thing with Santa Claus the movie where they were trying to pretend it was really him and not an actor.
Yeah, I was just about to say that, yeah.
I mean, and it was really him. That's true. That's the real Santa. Me and Brendan know this for a fact.
Quick segue for a second. Have you seen the trailer for Fat Man?
No.
Okay, but you know what I'm talking about?
I saw someone post it. It's like Mel Gibson, and it's like a weird, violent action movie, but he's Santa.
Yeah, dude, it looks awesome. It looks nuts and awesome, and I can't wait to see it. You have to watch the trailer. Like, promise me you'll watch it. It was, I loved every second of it.
Okay. I'm more excited about Christmas Chronicles 2.
That's fair. That's fair. It's a lot more wholesome.
Yes. I'm a bigger Kurt Russell fan than a Mel Gibson fan. Let's just put it that way. All right, next message. It's Tom Fatlows again. He says, "Hey guys, Batman's delayed, but I didn't do anything. They've not been near Liverpool as far as I know for months, and I've been sanitizing every bloody rooftop for Robert Pattinson to socially perch on. I was just wondering, and I'm surprised no one said anything, but why has Affleck not got a soundbite in the intro? Also, what's your favorite interpretation of a Batman villain, comics, TV, or movies? Thanks, Tom Fallows." Thanks, Tom. Why has Affleck not got a soundbite in the intro? Because he never got to say, "I'm Batman."
Yep.
If he had said it, I would have added him in a second. Because I even thought, I'm like, is there something that's close enough? But not really. Like, do you bleed? Not that would be weird. Or I believe you. It's just not the same. Whereas like "I'm Vengeance" is close enough that I was able to go, okay, that fits. But yeah, Ben just doesn't have a line that follows the theme. And you know I'm all about the theme.
Can't argue with you.
I mean, if you find one of Affleck that makes sense, I'm all for it. Let me know. Because yes, I'd love to include him.
Well, Zack Snyder would listen to this. Well, actually, we know Richard Citrone listens to this.
Yeah.
So, and with them doing the reshoots, well, not reshoots, the additional footage for Justice League, I'm sure word will get back to Zack that, hey, Andy needs Ben to say "I'm Batman" at some point during this movie.
Yes.
And it'll happen.
Yes, thank you. Please do.
Logic.
Yeah, Zach, if you could do that, that would be swell. I would really appreciate it. Because, yeah, I want to include him. Yeah. So, and then favorite interpretation of a Batman villain. Brendan?
The first thing that popped into my head when I heard that question then is the entire cast of the Harley Quinn animated series.
Oh, that's surprising, but cool.
I'm sure there's others, but like that's just the first thing that popped into my head. Like I absolutely adore that show, so it's brilliant. And yeah, the way they've made the characters their own in that show, I can't fault any of them. They're so good.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say Frank Gorshin's Riddler. I would say animated series Mr. Freeze. I don't know. That's
like,
two.
I could deep dive for ages, but it's just that's the first thing that popped into my head, so that's what I'm going with.
Yeah. Well, there you go. I gave you two for two of my favorites. But yeah, you're right. That could be a whole episode. We could go through the Rogues Gallery and it's like favorite version of Joker, favorite version of Penguin, favorite version of Catwoman. That would actually be kind of fun, actually.
I mean, the standard answer would kind of be essentially the animated series, like those versions. They're my favorite interpretation. But
yeah, that's probably true.
That actually, you should try that because that would make a good episode. Actually,
That'd be interesting. It'd be fun. All right, and then one last email here. This is from Tommy Sanders. It says, "Greetings. Will you be doing a look back and review of the Superman serial from 1950, Atom Man versus Superman? It's the 70th anniversary." Tommy, thanks for the message. 70th anniversary. I've never seen it. I'm open to it, certainly. I assume it's like on YouTube, is my guess. But I'd have to find it. But yes, I'm open to it. It certainly didn't cross my mind. But I appreciate the suggestion. Brendan, help me remember. The next time we go, we don't know what to do.
Yeah. I've watched Superman versus, was it Superman versus or Superman and the Mole Men or something, like, which I think was just before the television series, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's the only, like, old, aside from the Fleischer cartoons and stuff like that, that's the only old Superman stuff I've seen. I've never watched, like, a single episode of the George Reef show. I don't know why, I just never have.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever actually sat down and watched it. I remember it just being on when I was a kid, but, like, never actually watching it.
I'd be keen to watch an episode or two one day, but
Yeah,
I just never have.
me too.
And I don't have DC Universe, so I can't just put it on whenever I want.
Right. When does Death in the Family come out? That comes out in like a week or so, doesn't it?
I think digitally maybe, but this is one I think I'm going to wait for the disc.
Well, yeah, because, I mean, that makes sense. So,
Yeah.
I can look, because I feel like that's coming soon. I'm just trying to think about upcoming episodes. So, yeah, it's released next week.
Digitally or on disc?
I think it's all at the same time, according to what I'm seeing, which is different, but yeah.
Interesting. Depending on how my week pans out, you might have to do that one without me.
It says Blu-ray and digital, October 13th.
Oh, there you go.
Well, there you go. Another to-do for us, but we'll see how it goes. Anyway, there you go. I'm just thinking ahead of, like, what should we be doing for the next episodes. But the good thing is the Wayne Manor mailbox is clean. I just became Zelda Rubinstein in Poltergeist. This mailbox is clean. No? Get it? Yeah? You know Poltergeist? Okay.
I haven't come to it in my Scarathon yet.
Well, it's a good one. You should watch it. But anyway, thank you guys for writing. It is always great to hear from you. Sorry it took a couple of weeks for us to get to you. Doesn't mean we don't love you. But very cool. So if you've got something for the Wayne Manor mailbox for next time, you can send that to Holy BatCast at rf4rm.com. But let's wrap this baby up, Brendan. Thanks for taking some time out of your busy schedule to decompress and answer some questions with me.
Not a worry. I after the day I've had in particular, not counting the last couple of weeks and the few days I got ahead of me, but this was actually needed this. It was nice to just sort of forget all that for an hour and a half and just sit down with my buddy and talk about Batman.
It's amazing how that works, isn't it? Like, I feel like we've all had
Nice
that.
and cathartic.
Yeah, where we like sit down to record and we're kind of in a mood because of God knows what. And after about like 10 minutes of recording, like it all just sort of dissipates and then, you know, you feel better.
Well, the last episode I was on with Eric, you remember, like, you had a bastard of a day.
Oh, yeah.
And then we ended up having a really cool episode. Like,
Yeah,
it's fun. It's nice to do. It's cathartic.
for sure. Well, congrats on the house. Thanks for recording. And
Thank
yeah, tell our friends where they can find you if they don't follow you already.
You can find me on Twitter at Loey007. You can find my podcast, which has been on hiatus for a little while for obvious reasons. I haven't had time to do this show, let alone my own. At Nightlight Pod. I can't even remember now. It's on Twitter at Nightlight Pod, Facebook.com/The Nightlight, and thenightlight.podbean.com.
Sweet. When was the last episode?
The next episode is. The last episode was Fandom.
Ah, okay.
What the next episode will be, I can't tell you because I don't know.
It'll be the 1-year anniversary of Fandom.
I'm sticking to the original mantra of that show, is that we talk about what we want when we want. And at the moment, the when, there's been plenty I could talk about. At the moment, it's just the when. I have not had time. It's been nuts. And my podcast gear's been packed up, so there is that too.
Yeah, I get it. I totally feel you. Cool. Well, that's okay. They'll get their Brendan fix here when they want, and that'll have to do.
Yeah.
You've got responsibilities.
It does scratch the itch.
Good.
I have to admit, it does scratch the itch.
Well, it's less pressure for you. All you have to do is call in and talk.
Yeah, I don't need to set anything up. I just whack the headset into the laptop and chat.
See? All right. Well, cool. Good to have you. Thank you guys out there for joining us. As always, we appreciate it. Thanks for downloading the show. Please do subscribe so you never miss an episode. Please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. And as Michael Keaton's Batman says, I want you to tell all your friends about me. Visit holybatcast.com and find Holy BatCast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Again, if you've got an email for the Wayne Manor mailbox for next time, you can send that to holybatcast@rf4rm.com. Don't forget to check out all the other shows of the network at rf4rm.com. Most recently, it is October. It is Halloween season. It's our favorite. We just recorded the annual Halloween special for Real Fans for Real Movies. So make sure you go to that feed and check out, because this year you get 2. Yeah, 2 tricks or treats. You decide which they are. But yeah, 2 Halloween specials. The first one is already out there. The second one will be coming soon. So yeah, make sure you check those out. And then again, all the other shows at the network, rf4rm.com. So that'll do it. On behalf of Brendan, I've been Andy. We'll see you next time. Same bat time, same bat channel.
Holy BatCast is brought to you by Real Fans for Real Movies. Remember, the thoughts and opinions shared by the participants are theirs and theirs alone, and do not represent the companies or organizations they happen to work for.